Here's the old LaCroix 64XI solid state drive. No changes to the OS, still running great. Been using it throughout these tests. So I'm looking at the high voltage waveforms with the high voltage homemade shell casing probes. Not a single problem with it. It's been running great. No problems with that solid state drive, with no changes at all to the OS. Everything is enabled. That includes the defragger. So those saying that that's an issue with this system, or it's big brother, the 8500, whatever. So there you go. So you're looking at 1000 volts per division, 10 microseconds per division. Call it 30 microseconds out, about 3 kV, a little shy. That's what we'll be hitting the meters with next. You can see here the pile of shame hasn't really grown. We started out again testing these at 50 ohm source at 2 kilovolts. I then decreased the source impedance to 14 ohms and kept it at 2 kilovolts. I then went to 2 kilovolts with a 2 ohm source impedance. I didn't see any failures at this point. I also didn't create a YouTube video for this because I didn't see any failures. I have since modified the transient generator to give me a little bit higher voltage. I tried to go to 4 kV. The capacitors I'm using just can't handle it. So I'm going to run it just shy of 3000 volts. I've also changed the wave shaper in the output stage of the generator to give me a little bit longer decay. So hopefully here we can see a few more meters fail. We're going to start this testing with the AMPROBE. This is the AM510. Alright, let's see if she'll pass functional test. Okay, the AMPROBE AM-510 runs through all of its functional tests just fine. Looks to be a good meter. It goes on to the next round, whatever the heck that is. Next up is the B&K. This is the 2703. Let's see how she survives. We'll find out here. Alright, that's it for the B&K. I'll go ahead and functional test it. One of the things you might have noticed is I didn't test the milliamp range this time. When I tested the AMPROBE, I blew the fuse. I didn't mention that in the previous video. Rather than spend a lot of money replacing expensive fuses, now that I know that we're generating enough energy to take out the low current fuses, I'm just not going to test that piece of it anymore. Any of the meters that make it to the final, those would eventually be tested with the actual fuses in them. So let's go ahead and functional test this. So it doesn't look like the BK survived this test. As you can see here, right now I've got about a 15 volt signal. You can see it's reading about 5.8. So it looks like we took out the front end attenuator. It's the same even in the AC volts. This is about a 14 volt signal here. It's not even close. You can see here in the resistance, so this is a 20 meg ohm range. Here's a 10 meg resistor. Here's a 100K. It's reading about 49K. Something in the attenuator on this now is damaged. What I don't like about this is if this were to happen and you're trying to read the meter, and let's say now all of a sudden you think that there's a lower voltage than what's actually present. Yeah, that's to me that's a very bad thing. And this is the same problem that we saw with the Maztecs and also with the Gardner Bender. You know, to me that's not an acceptable failure. So this one's out of the running. Here's the inside of the B&K. And just glancing over the parts here, I don't see where the failed device is, so oh well. Fuses are all intact on it. It's probably the only thing left of the meter that's serviceable. So there's another junk one for the pile. So the pile grows. The pile of shame. The one to beat right now, the AMPRO. I should also mention the DM301 has been dethroned, finally. That AMPROBE actually took it out. I'll find another one that'll pass this. Okay, next up we have the UNI-T UT-90A. Again, we won't be testing these for current. Okay, we'll go ahead and functional test him. Okay, the UNI-T UT-90A passes all the tests. Beats out the B&K. Surprise. Goes on to fight the next battle. Next up, it's the EXTECH. This is the MN16A. Still one of my favorites out of the group. Might not be after this, but we'll find out. I think that might have been it right there. I don't know if you heard the pop. Nope. Down she goes. Yep. Not coming back. Well, EXTECH, you didn't survive. You got beat out by an AMPROBE and a UNI-T. Let's looking inside of the EXTECH. I don't immediately see where the damage is. Notice some placeholders down here for some MOVs. Some diodes up in here. Maybe if they wouldn't have skimped out on some money, the thing might have lived through this. It'd still be in competition, but, well, it's out of the game now. It's too bad. I like this little meter. Into the scrap heap with it. Well, I did say the goal here was to weed them out. And you can notice here, our pile of shame is definitely growing. So next up, the Klein Tools. This is the MM500. Again, this thing is just built. Rock solid. I couldn't crush this with my bare hands if I got paid to. Hey Tim, come here. Come Chew toy, huh? Yeah. Maybe Tim will chew it up later on. Alright. Let's see how it does. Test with her and Stacy. There you go. The Klein Tools passes. Again, my pick for winning this, just because it doesn't have any features. Well, we're down to the last of the meters, the FLUKE, the 101. I tell you, it's going to be a crying shame here if this FLUKE can't beat out a UNI-T and the AMPROBE and that Klein tool, because those are the only three that survived. Here we go. Okay, let's see if it works. Beeper still sucks. Looks good. FLUKE lives to fight another battle. There you have it. The 4 remaining meters. It's the AMPROBE AM-510, the UNI-T UT-90A, the Klein Tools MM500, and the FLUKE 101. We're going to have to up our game now as far as blowing these up. These, on the other hand, are pretty much done. One of the things I should mention again, all these meters that have failed with the attenuator, where the meter still runs and it shows a lower voltage, yeah, I'm thinking that's a bad way to fail. King of the meters right here.